the leading edge. So we've had some rain and storms off and on most of the day, not severe, but a really scary situation setting up from Iowa to Arkansas. I've seen some pictures and some video on Twitter. Massive tornadoes across parts of Iowa and Arkansas. So I'm going to start with this PDS tornado watch that the Storm Prediction Center issued earlier today. Particularly dangerous situation tornado watch. They don't issue these very often. I also want to highlight these purple boxes. These are confirmed tornado warnings out of eastern Iowa into the western sections of Illinois. We have numerous severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings as well. Tornado watch for the northwestern part of our state goes until 11 o'clock. I expect additional watches to be issued later this evening as this complex of storms, as Scott mentioned, dangerous storm system starts to move our way later this evening. So when does it get here? That severe threat starts to increase now through 1 a.m. Thinking that line that's out west is more of an 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. time frame. 8 p.m. tonight through 6 p.m. Saturday, we're under a wind advisory for 50-mile-per-hour wind gust not associated with thunderstorms. And tomorrow is going to be a much colder, windy day with a few showers. No warnings locally, but I do want to get you caught up on where we have showers and storms now. So we're southeast of Indianapolis into Greensburg, where we have rain. A cluster of thunderstorms coming out of Versailles. We've got rain and a little bit of lightning in Brookville. We move north, Shelbyville getting a bit of a break with some pockets of rain near Rushville, Morristown into Knightstown and Greenfield. Again, not severe. We've got some rain across the northeastern sections of Marion County. Spotty thunderstorms north, Kempton to Tipton. These are all tracking northeast. And what's coming out of Anderson over Muncie right now, Hartford City, Gas City, moving your way. Heavy rain, lots of lightning, and we can't rule out some small hail. Future Track 13 doing a really good job on the placement of that complex of storms. It moves out, and then we wait on the line between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. is that time frame. Within this line, the potential for damaging wind gusts 70 miles per hour. We may also have some embedded tornadoes. What we're hoping is that line weakens just a little bit as it starts to move our way, but we're going to be with you all night long, keeping you weather aware. As we get into Saturday, a much colder day. Temperatures will be in the 40s, dropping into the upper 30s by the afternoon. Very windy day as well. Those sustained winds over 30 miles per hour that at times may gust to 50, and we can't rule out a couple of spotty showers tomorrow afternoon as well. Definitely check back with us. It's Friday night. The Indians are at home. The Pacers are at home. If you're on the go, make sure you have our weather app. We'll get you alerts if you're going to be out and about tonight. Windy and colder tomorrow. Will drop through the 30s eventually. The pick of the weekend for some outdoor activities will be Sunday. Some sunshine and 56. We're back into the 60s and 70s the early half of next week, but we'll watch for a couple of rounds of storms Tuesday into Wednesday.
Yeah, good morning, Gina. Right now it is pitch dark here where we're at in Whiteland. We can't really see too much damage right now, so we're still waiting for the sun to come up to assess more of the damage. However, I can show you some bit of damage. If you take a look at your screen, I'm using my flashlight to show you a downed power line. That's here at the intersection of Whiteland and US 31. That's just one example of the damage that is here in this area. Now, again, right now we're at the intersection of Whiteland Road and US 31, which is right next to Whiteland Community High School. This is the furthest south that police will let us through. Right now, they have most of the road blocked at Tracy Road and US 31. And pretty much on our drive down here, pretty much all lights and power were on for most businesses and residents. However, once you get to US 31 and Tracy Road, all south of that, the power is just out. In fact, I actually checked the Duke Energy website not too long ago, and it reports that more than 2,000 customers are without power here in Whiteland. They also report Johnson County has over 6,000 customers without power. Meanwhile, take a look at some of the video we shot overnight in this area. You can see the damage from this severe storm left on homes in this area. Debris all around, busted out windows and downed trees. Emergency crews say they have also set up shelter for those needing it this morning at Greenwood Middle School. Some more good news this morning is that Whiteland police say done one sweep so far of the area. Everyone has been accounted for. Right now, they say Red Cross is making a second sweep to make sure that they can make sure everyone is also accounted for. But again, we're still waiting for the sun to come up here this morning to assess more of the damage. We'll continue to keep you posted right here on 13 Sunrise, as well as our website at WTHR.com. Live this morning here in Whiteland, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
Want to show you this backup from overnight in Whiteland. NDOT crews tell us this was caused by storm damage, including an overturned semi. All lanes were closed on 65 North, which stalled traffic for hours. Here's video sent in by one of our viewers who was stuck in this backup. This has since cleared. Look at that, just debris scattered all over the roads. So traffic is now moving as normal this morning. Whiteland was another area hit hard by those storms last night. Here's video of some of the damage. The sheriff asking anyone who does not live in Whiteland to avoid this area so emergency crews can do their job and continue to assess this damage. Our Matthew Foltz is there right now, kind of staying away from, kind of backed up from the scene. Matthew, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, Gina, I can tell you that since the sun has now come up, this scene is unreal. We've now moved just about a mile east of Whiteland Community High School. Just debris, wood, everything, pieces of shingles from the home, and just complete devastation in this area. You can see to the left of me, a small car lot had multiple cars damaged from winds and other things from this severe storm weather. You can see right here what used to be a clear path street, now completely blocked with trees, down trees. You can see crushing that car right there, as well as more trees next to this home, and just more damage as far as you can see to the left of me. I mean, it's just like similar to what John said, just debris completely scattered in the trees, tree lines, roofs lifted off of homes. I'm actually told by one neighbor that lived nearby, this was a local body shop that is now completely destroyed by this severe weather overnight. And within the last hour or so, we've been seeing dozens of people that live in this community come out, taking pictures, trying to assess this damage just like everyone else. Emergency responders in this area have been making calls, making runs through this area, but as the sun comes up, it's just an unreal scene here in Whiteland. The good news this morning, however, there have been no reported injuries in all of this. Again, we'll continue to stay out here all morning long and bring you updates right here on 13 Sunrise, as well as our website, WTHR.com.
In Johnson County. Take a look. This is what people are dealing with there tonight. This is the aerial view of that widespread damage in Whiteland. Buildings destroyed, homes demolished, power lines are down all across that town. Our team coverage continues now with Matthew Foltz in Whiteland with the impact and the effort now to help.
Well, the damage speaks for itself here in the town of Whiteland. Just to show you how powerful this storm was, you can see a home ripped from its foundation, and neighbors we spoke with on Saturday who are now picking up the pieces say they're devastated.
It's definitely an eye-opener. You know, things can change in an instant.
Anastasia Davila experienced the powerful storm that caused the destruction late Friday night.
About 10 o'clock. The tornado sirens went off.
She says she and her family immediately went to the back of their home and took cover.
As soon as we got in the tub and my other family went to the bathroom, the lights cut off and the tornado, it just hit.
Davila says whatever came through only lasted about 5 minutes.
It was fast, it was a lot of wind, and I didn't think it did this much damage until I opened the door and seen everything.
A path of destruction, leaving behind mangled cars, houses torn to pieces, scattered debris, and fallen trees.
Here I am today, never going through this, don't really know where to start, so just taking it all in.
On Saturday, she was joined by dozens of people trying to salvage whatever they could from their homes. In the meantime, Davila and others are just glad things weren't worse.
I've been around these people for 6 years and have built, you know, some relationships with them, and we're all going through the same thing, and I'm just grateful that everybody made it out okay.
Now, local emergency crews say they will continue to be out here to assess the damage and help those impacted. Meanwhile, there are still ways that you can help. We have information on our website at WTHR.com. Reporting in Johnson County, I'm Matthew Foltz, 13 News.
In Johnson County, an EF2 tornado demolished parts of Whiteland, leaving neighborhoods nearly unrecognizable. Matthew Foltz was there yesterday morning. He returns to survey this damage this morning. And how does it compare, Matthew?
Yeah, Gina, I can tell you it's still heartbreaking just to look at. I mean, you can still see behind me debris just scattered everywhere. And in fact, I'm actually joined here this morning by Whiteland Fire Chief Eric Funkhauser. Chief, thanks for waking up with us this morning. Walk me through the last 24 hours.
Yeah, so Friday night, obviously the tornado came through Johnson County. It looks like right now, from what we can tell, it started in the southwest portion of our county. It went through Bargersville, and it continued to track through our area. When it came through Whiteland, we think it was an EF2, so we're looking at 135 mile per hour winds. We're standing in the path of what the tornado seemed to take as it was tracking northeast through Johnson County. Obviously we've got a lot of severe damage that started, throughout the entire county. We have power poles that are down, and talking with REMC, there was 47 to 50 power poles that were completely destroyed.
Wow.
So lines were down all over the place. When the initial call started coming in, it actually was one of the fire crews here that got on the radio and said that the fire station had been hit. Multiple houses were down in the area. And when we all arrived in this area, we couldn't even get through. So, the roads, the trees were down, power lines were hanging everywhere and down on the roadways, and just all the damage that we had. So, the biggest thing, the most amazing part of the whole thing was when we showed up, and when it was all said and done, we had no injuries.
Yeah.
So the crews showed up, and we had people still climbing out of houses, and they started working with getting everybody out and making sure that everybody was safe. So Friday night into Saturday morning, for hours, we were out here just searching structures, making sure that nobody was hurt, nobody was still trapped inside, and spent the whole night doing that.
Yeah, and as we look at the damage, you were telling me one house was completely ripped from its foundation. Yesterday, we also saw a community effort of all types of people coming out here with the cleanup process. Talk about how long that process would take.
Yeah, so the cleanup process is going to take a long time. Yesterday, everybody's without power in this area. That's probably going to continue for at least 2 to 3 more days, more than likely. As you can see behind us, there was one house completely gone. All that's left is the foundation. There's a couple more down in this area that are in the same way. There's just severe devastation throughout this area and through the neighborhoods. It hit the library, it tore down power poles all along US 31. So, US 31's still closed, but everybody came together yesterday and started working on, just for us to even be able to drive here this morning and to get into this area is amazing. Because, all the crews from the town of Whiteland, Johnson County, state sent down crews yesterday to help as well, DNR. Everybody was out cutting trees up, and working on using the heavy machinery to get the power poles out of the roadway. Johnson County REMC, Duke, everybody just have been pitching in and everything else.
And I think one of the other amazing things that we've seen over the last 24 hours is the community output. Talk about, for viewers at home watching, how can they help this morning?
Yeah, so yesterday it was pretty amazing. We put out a call yesterday that we would accept donations. So we said, bottled water, food, snacks, all of those types of things. With our fire station being damaged back here behind us, we moved in with a new Whiteland Fire Department yesterday and was operating there. And from the beginning of the morning all the way till last evening, people were dropping off just carloads and truckloads of donations all day long. My phone was ringing all day. Social media was sending us messages. So, yeah, it was amazing. It got to the point to where we completely filled the fire station and had to put out a call last night saying thank you so much for all that everybody did. At this time, we're not going to accept any more donations. But going forward this week, just pay attention to social media. As we need more donations, as things like that, pop up. There's going to be church groups and other, different people out there that are going to start, having donation drives. We're going to try and put that information out so everybody can see it. So just pay attention to social media, any press releases that we might do over the next week, and we'll try and get more information out as we go.
Sounds good. We appreciate it, Chief. And we'll continue to pass along that information on our website at WTHR.com. Gina?
This morning, we now know 2 people are dead in Owen County after the severe storms that devastated parts of Indiana Friday night. It brings the number of victims in Indiana to 5. We're told they were camping at McCormick's Creek State Park. Indiana State Police shared these images of the park, which is not far from Bloomington. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources tells us Brett and Wendy Kincaid of Rossville died in this storm. Indiana conservation officers are now continuing to investigate the park's camping sites. We do have an update. The park is now closed until further notice. This morning, we now know at least 7 tornadoes ripped through Indiana in that severe storm. One of those, an EF2, devastating parts of Johnson County, including Whiteland. Matthew Foltz was in Whiteland yesterday morning. He is returning. You just spoke to the fire chief there. How are the response efforts and the rescue and relief efforts going there?
Yeah, Gina, I can tell you the relief efforts are still going. They're still making sure everyone is accounted for. However, the sun is up 48 hours later here in Whiteland, and the damage is just still unreal. You take a look behind me, you can see a home completely ripped to shreds. And we're actually in a different neighborhood this morning, just off of Whiteland Road, where many still do not have power in this community this morning. Now I want to show you some drone video that we shot just about. Drone video that we actually shot. We're going to hopefully have you around 9:30 hour, and it shows the complete path that this tornado took. Small town of Whiteland. The video is just incredible. That shows just the damage that's left behind. Many people that I spoke with yesterday tell me that the tornado actually came through here in about 5 minutes. That's how quickly it came through and left this much damage. Meanwhile, this morning, the community and Johnson County leaders are coming together to help those impacted. The Red Cross has an emergency shelter set up at Greenwood Middle School for those who need it. The Salvation Army of Johnson County says they will have a mobile kitchen for those who need it also. And as Gina mentioned earlier, I spoke with the Whiteland Fire Chief earlier this morning, who says more community support may be on the way this morning.
There's going to be church groups and other, different people out there that are going to start, having donation drives. We're going to try and put that information out so everybody can see it. So just pay attention to social media, any press releases that we might do over the next week, and we'll try and get more information out as we go.
And we'll continue to pass that information along as well as soon as we get it. Some good news this morning is you can help right now. Kroger says they're opening up a donation line. So when you go to Kroger and you want to check out, there will be an option for you to donate to those impacted by this tornado. The chief also tells me that FEMA and emergency management services will be in this area later this morning assessing the damage. So hopefully we'll get a better sense of just exactly how many people were impacted, how much damage this tornado actually caused. And Gina, I guess the big question is how long this cleanup process will take.
We'll take some time. Matthew, we will check back in with you at 9:30. Thank you for that live report from Whiteland. And in Sullivan County in southwest Indiana, an EF3 tornado packing winds of up to 155 miles an hour killed 3 people and injured at least 10 more. Our Rich Knight joined Governor Holcomb yesterday to survey the damage.
This impacted area of Sullivan is under curfew from 7 p.m. until 7 a.m. after a devastating tornado ripped through this little town at about 10:30 on Friday night. 155 homes were destroyed just in this city, 200 throughout Sullivan County. The tornado warning was issued at 10:08 Friday night, giving residents about 22 minutes to prepare.
What we try to do is to provide information and get warnings out in advance, and then people have an action plan that they know what to do and can take cover. And I guess if there's a silver lining, it's that, despite the tragedy, the terrible tragedy, that there wasn't more lives lost or people hurt. Inside this house, Lacey Bogard braced for impact with the granddaughter on her lap and her 2 sons.
I come out on the porch and I said, it's coming, and my son told me, he's like, quit being over dramatic and go back to your room. When the lights went off, I said, it's coming, and I went in. She was on my bed, and I just dove on top of her, and then my oldest dove on top of me, and her, and my youngest was in the living room with trying to get the dog, and it was over within 30 seconds. It was terrifying.
Lacey and her family are okay. They salvaged what they could from what's left of their house. They have a place to go. Governor Helcom arrived Saturday afternoon to meet survivors like Lacey. The governor surveyed the damage with the Sullivan mayor and thanked the cleanup crews.
You see, the folks that are here who have come from far and wide to help this city. This was a horrific event, but it brings out the absolute best in people too.
Someone in this area obviously collected sports cards. Their collection is now scattered throughout Sullivan. Here's a Charles Barkley. This is not the kind of March Madness we wanted to see. In Sullivan, Rich Nye, 13 News.
With more than 150 homes destroyed just in the city of Sullivan, families certainly need help with recovery. The city is offering assistance with food, water, shelter, clothing, even housing vouchers. So they are asking anyone who needs help to call the number you see on your screen, 812-638-2023, and leave a detailed message so someone can call you back. We also have this number on our website. Meanwhile, the mayor is overwhelmed by the support Sullivan is receiving from across the state.
So many people want to help, but they just don't know how. And we appreciate everybody's help, but at the same time, we are still in a search and rescue operation, and we want to make sure that we don't necessarily flood the areas, right? So many people do want to help, but we want to make sure our first responders and our officials get everything taken care of. So I guess my best advice would be stand by, and we'll definitely announce our needs over the coming days.
The Wabash Valley Community Foundation has set up a donation fund. You'll find a link in this story at WTHR.com.
After a weekend dealing with devastating loss from Friday's tornadoes, communities all across Indiana tonight are trying to figure out how to rebuild their homes and their lives. Tonight, the scope of the storm has grown even larger. We now know 17 tornadoes touched down Friday across 11 different counties. They ripped apart entire neighborhoods, leaving towns and cities devastated. Tonight, we have continuing coverage of the damage and the struggles, as well as the support for survivors. Now, for some, just getting the lights back on will be a sign of progress after being in the dark since Friday. Utility crews have been working real hard. They made great progress getting power back on. Tonight, only about 7,000 are still in the dark, with the highest numbers you can see in Morgan and Johnson counties. Well, new tonight, we've learned that an EF3 tornado is what barreled through Owen County, killing a husband and wife at McCormick's Creek State Park.